Welcome to Leopard Farm, where the German war for farmland rages. Imagine endless fields of golden wheat now relentlessly attacked by an army of wild boars, intelligent, fearless, and as powerful as armored tanks. These ferocious animals plow through the farmland with brutal force, uprooting plants, turning the soil into mud, and causing farmers millions of dollars in losses each year. To fight back and protect their way of life, a group of brave and dedicated hunters accepted the challenge. They set out before dawn, forming a tight encirclement in the frigid early morning air across the open fields of Brandenburg. This was no ordinary hunt, a fierce confrontation. Each hunt could erupt into chaos in seconds, hearts pounding, guns loaded. One small mistake and a giant wild boar would escape into the bushes forever. Prepare yourself for some action. You'll be hooked on every beat as the team tries to take down the charging giants before they disappear. Watch until the end. I'll ask you to vote for the most heart-stopping moment of the day. It all happened to Kevin's team on that cold morning. They had set up their positions early, holding their ground to prevent anything from breaking through. Tension hung in the air. Everyone knew how quickly things could change. Then suddenly a massive wild boar leaped out of Nick. There was no time to think. Nick quickly raised his gun, tracked the beast, and fired a single shot. The gunshot shattered the afternoon's stillness like a whip lashing through the air. The enormous wild boar collapsed on the spot, lying flat in the tall grass as if someone had flipped a switch. Dead before it even happened. Perfectly aimed shot to the heart, a clean kill that would have made even the best marksman in the camp proud. The rest of the wild boar herd stood motionless, their heads raised, their faces bewildered. Then, like a dam breaking, they scattered in all directions, a chaotic wave of shaggy brown for tearing across. Under the scorching midday sun, Kevin and his friends felt their hearts pound as they quietly climbed over the fence. They moved as if they had done this 1,000 times, because they had. Not a single wasted movement, not a sound, only the graceful, practiced steps as they fanned out to their pre-scouted ambush points in the adjacent field. Everyone knew the procedure. Everyone knew the level of danger. 10 minutes later, the scope spotted them. A herd of wild boars was digging furiously, tearing through the fresh soil as if they owned the entire area. His sights were fixed on the lead boar, a huge, heavy old boar, impressive enough to hang on a wall. He squeezed the trigger, a shot, and the massive boar slumped, kicked violently, and lay motionless. Jay pressed the radio button to signal the pursuit, but the remaining wild boars had vanished into the bushes like ghosts. There was no time to lament their bad luck. They had to save a wounded warrior. The boar was charging northwest through the dense vegetation, moving swiftly and furiously. With low, steady voices over the radio, the group tightened their encirclement, trusting the fresh tracks they'd observed earlier in the week and their years of experience hunting wild boars together. Time dragged on slowly in that high hunting hut, an hour, until the silence was broken. A lone, enormous wild boar emerged from the bushes, roaring in rage and pain as it charged into the open hunting grounds, desperately seeking escape. A single, accurate shot rang out. The colossal animal fell instantly, dead on the spot. A few miles away in Lower Saxony, the silent battle against wild boars continued. James crouched low beside the tall grassy wall bordering a nearly harvestable cornfield, his rifle steady, his eyes fixed on the shadows ahead. His heart pounded with a familiar mixture of adrenaline and concentration. Then suddenly, a huge wild boar leaped from its hiding place, charging straight toward him with its gleaming tusks and a fierce, territorial look. James didn't flinch. He waited for the right moment, then pulled the trigger with calm precision. A deafening blast echoed through the silent landscape, and the wild boar slumped midair, crashing to the ground. A few minutes later, the pack of hunting dogs tracked a hot, steaming trail. Their excited barks pierced the freezing air as the pack charged forward. James and the rest of the group began to move, their footsteps pounding on the icy ground as they spread out to support the dogs and deal with whatever might unexpectedly appear next. Rifles held high, eyes fixed on the tangled bushes. Suddenly, a dark streak shot forward with a precise, accurate shot. The wild boar fell heavily to the frozen ground and lay motionless. Welcome to Leopard Farm. That single rifle shot isn't just some trigger-happy hunter's whim. It's a last-ditch effort to safeguard a family farm and a cherished way of life getting overrun by a booming bear population. The issues run a lot deeper than ripped-up fences and flattened crops. These bears are shedding their natural wariness of humans, venturing bolder each year into suburbs, quiet towns, and folks' backyards, treating trash cans and garages like their personal can-eat smorgasbord. Picture this. Overturned garbage bins, raided sheds, and backyard cookouts crashed by a 400-pound uninvited guest who just saunters in like he owns the place. It's becoming all too common. Families aren't merely frustrated anymore. They're downright terrified, and who can blame them? No one wants to step out for a quick morning walk with a dog or let the kids romp in the yard, only to lock eyes with a massive 600-pound black bear staring right back. In many Western states these days, that's just the harsh truth. Wildlife officials are pushed to their limits, capturing and moving hundreds of nuisance bears each year, trucking them far into remote wilderness areas in the hope they'll stick to the forests and peaks where they thrive. But all too often, those clever critters wander right back into human territory, causing more headaches. When all else fails, licensed hunters step into the last line of defense. For the folks who shoulder the duty, bear hunting isn't some laid-back hobby or weekend getaway. It's tough, high-stakes business that demands sharp skills, unbreakable grit, endless patience, and rock-solid strategy. These hunters aren't in it for the glory or wall hangers. They're out there safeguarding communities, farms, and ranches while preserving the delicate equilibrium of the wild. Ask any veteran bear hunter, and they'll explain how the real strategy kicks off well before the season even opens, with smartly set baits that no inquisitive bear can resist sniffing out. Ready?
Yeah. I got it.
The bait setup is a stroke of wicked brilliance. Imagine dumping big honey over a heap of coffee grounds, mixed nuts, and fermented fruit scraps, all crammed into weathered wooden barrels and left to ferment until the whole mess stinks like a boozy orchard gone wild. Hunters stash these barrels deep in the forest, tucked next to massive tree stumps or chained way up in the branches. Any spot where a black bear's super sniffer can pick up the scent from a mile off, but reaching it turns into a real challenge. That irresistible, sweet rotten aroma is like a siren's call. A bear will bulldoze through thickets and brambles to get with. The goal: keep the critter glued to the spot, buried in the treats, totally oblivious to the trap. With the bait locked in and the breeze cooperating, the hunters melt into the shadows, silently claiming their vantage points. Most folks scale a sturdy oak or beech tree, crawl out on a beefy limb, and rig a simple stand or just perch there, maybe 7 to 10 feet up, high enough to dodge detection and stay clear of that legendary nose, but close enough for a quick, humane shot. That's when the true thrill of the hunt kicks in. The weight of the weight presses down like a lead blanket, your heart slamming against your ribs like a drum in the dead silence. Every twig snap echoes like a rifle crack, shattering the quiet. Time drags on forever when you're hunkered down in that eerie hush. You can pick out a squirrel's tiny claws scraping bark from 50 yards away, or a single leaf drifting loose and hitting the ground with a pop that rattles your brain. You're sipping air in shallow breaths, barely daring to move. Fingers locked straight off the trigger, you're convinced that pounding pulse could echo off the hills and scare off every critter in the county. One wrong twitch, a stifled cough, or a split-second lapse, the whole hunt's toast. But hang tough
ensuring
with
a
those nerves
silent
of
and
steel,
strategic
and
approach.
sooner or later, that buck's gonna stroll out like he rules the